Hey there, and welcome to the show. I'm Dylan Robichaud. We got Michael Behrens here. Michael, another day where it was really weird this morning. It just snowed, but it didn't really amount to much. It was actually quite beautiful.
I was going to say, another day, another snowflake in central Ohio, and it's not a traffic impacting snowfall, which was nice. We can enjoy the pretty pictures, you said, but it is still really cold out there.
And it felt kind of like Christmas morning today. Like it felt there. I wish it was like this on Christmas.
Those slow snowflakes instead of the rain that we had
back for holiday. If you remember Christmas, we were actually record warmth that week. But that's not the case here as we head into the today. Next few days, though, we start to kind of warm things up. Let's begin right now with an update on your February snowfall for the month. And I've never seen that snow so much with so little accumulation. Like, think about all the days this month that you've seen snow falling out your window, and we've only had everything accumulate to 3.3 inches, okay? We're still below average by about 5.6 inches. So far this winter, we're about 66% of normal. We've had about 2/3 of our average snowfall here. So if you look at November, December, January, and so far in February, we've had 14.7 inches. We should be around 21.5. That has taken the last 30 years and then averaging it together. That's where we get that number down there, what we call normal with air quotes. Now, how much do we get in the winter? 28 inches. Typically, that is spread with December, January, and February being the snowiest months of the year. So January, we get about 9.5 inches. That's typically the snowiest month. February, about 7.6. And then as we head into March, of course, things will be a lot less in the way of snow. And then April, we get hardly anything. Right now, as we look at current snow cover, remember, the Deep South has had a couple different snow events over the last couple of weeks, and so that snowfall has pushed all the way down to the south. And as we go a little bit closer to the Buckeye State, you'll notice that, especially as you head up north to the Great Lakes, even up towards like Ashtabula County off of Lake Erie, because of all the lake effect that they had over the last couple of months, they still have quite a bit of snowfall out there on the ground. And then especially the Appalachian Mountains here across portions of West Virginia. Now the question is, as we get towards the end of February and into the start of March, does March come in like a lion or a lamb? Right now, looks like a lamb as we're looking at average temperatures, average rainfall, so nothing to really get too excited about here. In the short term, we actually warm things up. Friday, which is today, last day in the 20s, but then take a look at this as we head towards Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, and Wednesday. Of course, things will be a lot better and a lot more comfortable here. I mean, that 48 on Monday looks a lot better than the single-digit wind chills that we had this past Monday. So right now, the jet stream is going to be switching up this weekend, and now we're tapping into some warmer air from the south. That's going to make a world of difference and make things a whole lot more comfortable. We've got your sunshine tomorrow. Temperatures, though, in the middle end of the 30s. 40, though, as we head into Sunday. A few more clouds, but, man, that trade-off is nice as the temperatures are finally going to be warming up just a little bit. If you're heading off to the home opener for the Columbus Crew, take a look at this right here. We are below freezing. As you leave the game at the end, we're in the upper end of the 20s, so it will be pretty cold for that. 3 o'clock this afternoon, the clouds are just very stubborn for today. I don't see that changing. We might get a little bit of sunshine that kind of sneaks out. By the time that we do clear things up, the sun has already gone down. So we're just looking at mostly cloudy skies developing here after midnight. Saturday, waking up, it'll be cloudy. As we head towards Saturday afternoon, we are looking at quite a bit more sunshine forming across the region. And by tomorrow evening, if you are heading off to lower.com field for that Crew game, things will be looking pretty good by that point in time. As we get a look at the extended forecast, take a look at this right here by Tuesday, 48 degrees. Look how much warmer it'll be. And we are looking at our next system rolling into the region. And this will come in around 11 o'clock in the morning on Tuesday. It doesn't look all that powerful. You might get a 1/4 of an inch of rain. That's it. And it gets out of here, leaving us with a dry Wednesday. And then after this storm, round number 2 comes in on Thursday. Right now, the latest models showing that that one looks a little bit more impressive, as we'll be looking at higher amounts of rain for that. Still a week out, though, so things definitely will change. For now, of course, the big story is that things are finally going to be warming up and improving as we head into the weekend. Above freezing tomorrow. We're hitting 40 as we head into Sunday. That looks nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's really going to be a nice change to get back to some warmer weather after what has just really been a kind of bitterly cold week out there.
This whole week, I mean, and it's more so the wind. Like daytime highs were in the 20s, but that 15-mile-per-hour wind can knock down that wind chill quite a bit.
In the morning, that's just terrible
Right.
out there. You're feeling like 0, below 0 sometimes.
Yep. We've had a lot of delays, too.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what else we've seen with this cold, Dylan?
Snow?
Oh, snow, but high heating bills.
I'll talk your ear off about that.
Oh, it has been not so great out there when it comes to trying to keep your house warm, and it could be taking a toll, again, on that heating bill. Heating and cooling pros say that there are some steps you can take to keep the cost down. First, Justin Smith with Atlas Butler Heating and Cooling and Plumbing says that you should reverse your ceiling fan. That way, you keep some of that hot air down closer to ground level inside the house. Also, make sure during the day your blinds are open. The sun will add some natural heat to your home and keep the temperature consistent.
All of the money that you saved while you were gone, during the day, if you crank that temperature back up like 5, 6, 7 degrees, you're going to obviously just spend all that money that you just saved over the course of the day.
Smith also recommends to get maintenance on your HVAC system yearly to avoid breakdowns. And as much as you might like your home nice and toasty, having your car heated is also a necessity this time of the year. Here's how to make sure you're following the law when you do so. In Ohio, it's illegal to leave your car running while unattended. There are 3 exemptions to it, though. You can leave your car running if it's parked in your residential property. You can leave it running if it's locked, regardless of where it's parked. And of course, police say following these laws can help protect your car against theft. Don't want to deal with that in the cold either.
Yeah, I didn't realize that it was illegal to leave your car running.
Oh, if it's unlocked or just sitting on the street somewhere. So I mean, you don't want to give it an easy option for criminals to come out and take it. And like we were saying earlier, you just really want to stay warm, and that includes in the house, too.
Yeah, exactly. I need to get one of those. Some of these newer cars you can start it on your phone.
Yeah.
My car is like 15 years old, so I don't have that technology, but I know some people do.
I have the remote start, and that is definitely a godsend this time of the year. But the other side of that coin, again, the inside part of the house, I got electric heat, and boy, my bill. Not good.
Look at my This is the last time I'll complain about this.
No, it's not.
400 square foot studio apartment. My bill was $240 for the month.
Goodness.
I was so mad, but anyways.
That's not great. Dylan, when it comes to the cold, well, this bills may not be good, but we're almost done with that cold weather. But again, it has brought out some good in people too, especially with our first responders here across Ohio. And a pair of police officers, they went above and beyond to lend a helping hand earlier this week after a Canton, Ohio man got stuck in his wheelchair. Bob Jones has the story.
Ernest Williams served our country in the U.S. Army for 2 years and was proud to do so.
Because this is my country.
Ernest is a double amputee. He lost his legs because of poor blood circulation. On Monday, Ernest took a bus from his Canton apartment to Veterans Affairs. It was bitterly cold out. How cold was it?
Freezing cold. It was freezing cold Monday.
It turned out the VA was closed for the holiday, so Ernest tried to make his way back to a bus, but his wheelchair got stuck on a sidewalk on Market Avenue. A concerned resident, worried about the 76-year-old's safety, called police.
My chair got stuck in the ice, and that's when the police helped me.
Hello, sir. You got stuck?
Officers Heath Porter and Scott Woletter went beyond the call of duty when it became clear that Ernest would not be able to operate the wheelchair on his own.
One wheel was locked up, and so he wasn't able to move, and he had been out in those conditions for quite some time.
A hand warmer. Put those gloves on.
The officers gave Ernest gloves and hand warmers, and then they did something more, alternating between pushing him in the jammed up wheelchair
We're trying.
and blocking traffic with their cruiser to keep the veteran safe. Ernest was beyond grateful.
They were so helpful I couldn't believe it. I don't know what I would have did without them.
Hopefully it'll push still while you're driving.
The conversation, comforting and pushing, continued for several blocks until the officers spotted a SARTA bus, flagged down the driver, and helped Ernest get on board the safe, warm bus.
There you go.
This is just something that our officers and officers throughout the country do on a daily basis. If they see someone who needs something, they help them. They weren't going to just leave that gentleman stranded there in the cold.
Ernest believes he could have suffered hypothermia if the officers had not stayed by his side. He thanked them that day and said thanks again today.
They saved me, and I'm very grateful.
Yeah, that's absolutely a heartwarming story there. You love to see people, regardless of the weather, getting out to help one another when things are kind of, nasty outside.
Sometimes police get such a bad rap, but you got to remember they're here for your safety.
Yeah.
And I mean, these cops, they're great people. They're great humans, and look at that. So,
yeah, absolutely.
Warms your heart.
Absolutely. Glad he got helped and got back to the bus to make it home safely. And you were talking earlier in the forecast about you've never seen this much snow without accumulation.
Right.
Yeah, and it's not just us, believe it or not. Lots of places in the country have been lacking snow this winter, including the Iditarod sled dog race in Alaska. They had to make last-minute changes less than 2 weeks away from the start of the race due to that lack of snow. The Iditarod announced earlier this week that the race will no longer start in Willow and will instead start in Fairbanks. Justin Mattson spoke with officials about why they made this change.
The countdown to the start of the Iditarod hasn't changed, but the starting line has, to Fairbanks.
It was a tough call for sure.
The decision is a reversal of what race organizers said on January 31st, after trail breakers looked at the trail over President's Day weekend and found conditions to be dangerous.
This year, we ran into a situation much like 1986, where there was nothing but tussocks and dirt that full way to, we'll say, from Roan all the way to Salmon River, which is 18 miles or so out of Nikolai.
The problem is this section from Roan and Nikolai was unpassable.
The new route released on Monday goes as follows. Teams will start in Fairbanks, go through Manly, and up into Ruby along the Yukon River before rejoining the traditional Iditarod route and finishing in Nome.
The route's slightly different this time. We added a little loop, kind of going downriver, then upriver.
Organizers know that this is a change that came late, but ultimately feel that the safety of the racers and their teams comes first.
I think everybody has the welfare of these dogs and teams at heart here.
The ceremonial start to the Iditarod will still happen at 10 o'clock a.m. Saturday, March 1st in downtown Anchorage, while teams will restart the race and embark on their trek Monday, March 3rd at 11. Justin Mattson, Alaska's news source.
And if you're looking to get away from this cold, we are just a few weeks away from spring break, but as you get your plans figured out, get ready for some sticker shock. Between March and mid-April, AAA booking data shows that 4 Florida cities are the top domestic destinations, but it might cost you a little more to get there compared to last year. AAA says an average round-trip ticket in the U.S. is up 7%, around $820, but there are ways to cut costs elsewhere.
Every aspect of it can be planned. Every aspect of it can be thought through. To just go down somewhere willy-nilly without a budget, without an idea of what stuff costs, I think that will lead to potential unhappiness.
And the Ohio Department of Commerce says to save more money, like you said, their plan ahead. That includes packing sunscreen and chargers to avoid buying things you already have at more expensive tourist destinations, and also be flexible with travel choices like flying during off-peak hours and using different airports. Finally, explore alternative destinations and hotel options. And looking up to the stars, the odds of an asteroid hitting the Earth in the next 7 years have decreased. Astronomers say that the threat posed by the 2024 YR4 asteroid is now 0.28%. That change to the impact to the moon, though, has increased slightly to 1%. NASA continues to monitor the asteroid since it keeps shifting. Earlier this week, you might remember the YR4 asteroid had a 3% chance of hitting Earth, making some headlines across the region. That was the riskiest asteroid ever detected. The rock is about 130 to 300 feet, which would cause local damage if it were to strike the Earth. Currently, there are about 37,000 large space rocks known to astronomers. YR4 is the only one with any chance to hit the Earth. Finally today, check out some new video into us here at 10 TV. It didn't snow in Dallas, Texas on Wednesday night, but one part of the metro sure did look like it. This was a scene of a suburb of Carrollton after a water main ruptured. The area experienced record lows of temperatures only reaching 28 degrees Wednesday, caused the water to freeze immediately on contact with whatever it touched. Some businesses had to close as vehicles got iced over. You ever seen a scene like that, Dylan?
I have not. I've seen similar, but not that extreme.
Yeah, that looks like if you go to Chicago up near the lakeshore when the water splashes over Lakeshore Drive, that looks like this, except you would never guess this is in Texas.
Yeah. Wow, that's I mean, it's kind of like how freezing rain forms. You have liquid rain, and then the surface is below zero, and bam.
Beautiful picture, not a fun situation to be in.
Nope. Wow.
Yeah. And speaking of some new video here, we got another one. This is over 700,000 olive ridley turtles descending upon a beach in India. This was on Friday, well, today. A record number of annual nesting turtles are out there in the event, also called an Aribada, which is a unique nesting phenomenon common to this species of sea turtles. The mass nesting started earlier this month and will continue for a few more days. According to a secretary in the region, the Sea Turtle Protection Group, authorities have fenced off a boundary around where these turtles are nesting. They are one of the smallest of the world's sea turtles. And of course, once they reach the beach, they got to dig a hole, lay the eggs, and around 50 days later, well, out come the baby turtles.
He'll reach out to his girlfriend and be like, hey, I found the perfect spot.
I mean, that's a crazy amount of turtles there. I mean, it almost looks like little, like, well, you're talking about asteroids. It looks like little, like, asteroid impacts on the beach, but it's actually just a bunch of turtles burying themselves there in the sand.
I didn't realize how long turtles live either.
Yeah.
Like, they can outlive humans.
Oh, I mean, there are turtles at the zoo when I was a kid. They were already over 120 plus years old, and I think some of them are still there kicking around. So.
We need those genetics.
Absolutely.
All right, well, that does it for us here on 10 TV Plus. Don't worry, though. Chief Meteorologist Jerry Martz will have your forecast tonight on 10 TV News starting at 6.